2026 may become not just another milestone in the history of technology, it may become the moment when the world we are used to begins rapidly fading into the past. In recent months, more and more strange signals, leaks, patents, and hints have been accumulating around Tesla and Elon Musk personally, which together form an alarming and at the same time thrilling picture. This is not about another redesign of an electric car and not even about a new autopilot. It is about projects capable of rewriting the very concept of transport, labor, and intelligence. According to information from closed presentations, analytical reports, and discussions in Silicon Valley engineering circles, Tesla in 2026 may go far beyond the framework of an automotive company. Flying transport projects, which Musk described as a logical continuation of electric mobility, are no longer fantasy. New energy modules and stabilization systems are already being developed for them. In parallel, work is underway inside Tesla and xAI on an army of next-generation humanoid robots, capable not only of executing commands, but also of learning independently, making decisions, and working faster and more efficiently than a human. But the key to all of this is energy. New types of batteries with a range of more than 1,000 kilometers may make electric vehicles the definitively dominant form of transport on the planet. And all of this is controlled by next-level AI assistants, such as Grok, which, according to insiders, already surpasses human intelligence in a number of tasks. In this video, we have gathered all the most important rumors, potential insider reports, and indirect confirmations of what Tesla is really working on behind closed doors, and why 2026 may become the moment when Elon Musk once again changes the game, and not only in the automotive industry. In recent months, one and the same topic has been heard with increasing frequency in the technological circles of Silicon Valley and on closed investor forums, a topic that until recently seemed like fantasy, but is now being discussed in whispers even inside the world's largest corporations. It concerns the idea that Elon Musk, a person who has already changed entire industries from the automotive sector to space, has allegedly come very close to creating the world's first next-generation integrated AI chip based on Neuralink technologies, designed not simply for interaction with devices, but for direct implantation under the human skin, with the ability to project visual information and maintain constant connection to artificial intelligence. According to sources close to the development, this project inside the company is seen not as another gadget, but as the next step in the evolution of the interface between humans and the digital world. Several reputable publications, including Bloomberg and the Wall Street Journal, have in recent weeks published cautious reports that Neuralink has accelerated hiring of specialists in neurobiology, photonics, and neurovisual interfaces, which indirectly confirms rumors about work on a device that goes far beyond medical implants for people with disabilities. Insiders claim that the concept of the future chip is radically different from anything the market has seen before. It is not just a neural interface for transmitting commands, but a full-fledged AI module integrated into the human body, capable of processing information in real time, connecting to cloud computing, and projecting images either directly into the visual cortex or through subdermal microprojection systems that use the tissues of the arm or palm as a carrier of the visual interface. Inside the company, a scenario is reportedly being discussed in which a person literally looks at information without taking out a phone, without putting on glasses, and without using a screen in the usual sense. This appears to be a logical continuation of Musk's ideas about a future without smartphones, which he has repeatedly voiced publicly, stating that screens are a temporary solution and that the true interface of the future lies within ourselves. Particular tension around this topic is linked to the fact that the development of artificial intelligence has accelerated sharply over the past 2 years. Musk simultaneously controls several key areas at once: neural interfaces through Neuralink, AI models through xAI, and colossal computing power used to train these systems. According to analysts at Morgan Stanley, it is precisely the synergy of AI and neuroimplants that may become the black swan capable of turning the personal device market upside down, faster than the iPhone once did. And if earlier discussions about a chip under the skin were perceived as science fiction, today, against the background of Neuralink's real successes in clinical trials, they are beginning to look frighteningly realistic. According to sources familiar with internal presentations, the potential danger, and at the same time the main prospect of this development, lies in the fact that it may replace an entire class of devices that are now considered an integral part of everyday human life. Smartphones, smartwatches, headphones, fitness trackers, and even elements of augmented reality may become redundant if a person receives a constant interface for interacting with the digital world directly through their own body. That is why insiders claim the largest technology giants, Apple, Samsung, Xiaomi, Google, are closely monitoring every step Neuralink and Musk take in this direction. According to the Financial Times, a closed group has existed inside Apple for several years, analyzing risks from neural interfaces, despite the company's public position that focuses on a device-based ecosystem rather than intervention in human biology. It is important to understand that at this stage, we are not talking about a mass product. Even the most optimistic sources agree that such a technology could not be introduced earlier than in 5 years, and even then only in the form of a limited prototype or an experimental version for a narrow group of users. Regulatory barriers, medical risks, ethical questions, and the simple unpreparedness of society make a rapid market launch of such a device impossible. That is why experts emphasize that in the coming years, nothing threatens familiar gadgets, and neither iPhones nor smartwatches are going to disappear tomorrow. However, the very way the question is now being framed changes everything. Companies understand that if Musk really brings this technology to a working state, they risk repeating the fate of those who once underestimated smartphones and were left outside the new era. Knowing Elon Musk's nature, many analysts believe that the main danger lies not even in the technology itself, but in the speed with which he is capable of pushing it forward. Musk has repeatedly proven that he is ready to take risks, ignore skeptics, and move ahead despite criticism and pressure. It was this way with Tesla, when electric cars were considered a niche product, and it was the same with SpaceX, when private companies were not taken seriously in the space industry. Now, according to sources, he is acting according to the same pattern. First a radical idea, then gradual normalization, and then a sharp breakthrough that catches the market off guard. Additional concern among competitors is caused by the fact that Musk openly speaks about the need to augment the human being in the era of strong artificial intelligence. In his logic, if AI develops faster than human cognitive abilities, the only way to maintain balance is to integrate technology directly into the human being. And if this approach is combined with a powerful AI, capable of analyzing context, predicting actions, and suggesting decisions in real time, then we are no longer talking about just a new device, but about a fundamental change in the very nature of human interaction with information. That is why some philosophers and futurists describe such developments as the beginning of the era of the augmented human, where the boundary between biology and technology becomes increasingly blurred. For now, officially, Neuralink continues to focus on medical tasks, helping people with paralysis and neurological disorders. However, as sources note, inside the company, they have long been looking further ahead. Medical implants are viewed as the first step that makes it possible to test technologies, obtain regulatory approval, and prepare society for the idea that chips in the body are not something harmful, but a tool. And if this barrier is overcome, the next stage may come much faster than skeptics expect. Thus, even if half of the rumors about Musk's subdermal AI chip turn out to be exaggerated, the very fact that such discussions are being seriously considered at the level of the largest corporations and investment banks says a lot. The world is standing on the threshold of another technological shift, and the question is no longer whether such a technology will appear, but who will be the first to dare to take this step, and what consequences it will have for the market, society, and the human being itself. And that is why Elon Musk's name once again finds itself at the center of a global discussion about the future, where technologies cease to be just tools and begin to become a part of ourselves. At the same time, behind the scenes of the technological world, Another alarming question is sounding louder and louder, one that is almost never discussed publicly, but is actively analyzed in confidential reports for regulators and governments. It concerns control over such a technology and who exactly will define the rules of the game in a world where a person receives an integrated AI interface. On the other hand, critics note that embedding AI directly into the human body may make people even more dependent on algorithms, corporations, and infrastructure that they do not control. This conflict of ideas is already dividing the expert community, and as real prototypes approach, it will only intensify. Therefore, even if years remain before the mass adoption of such implants, the discussion around them has already begun, and it may prove no less important than the technology itself. In recent months, an event has been brewing in the tech and space sectors that may become the largest transformation since the creation of SpaceX. According to several sources in Boca Chica and in Tesla's engineering circles, Elon Musk is preparing a project capable of reshaping humanity's understanding of cities, architecture, and space development. The plan involves building the world's first city, whose architecture is based on real flight-proven rockets, expended Falcon 9 stages, and Starship hulls. According to multiple sources in Boca Chica, the project, once discussed as a concept for the distant future, has already moved into a phase of careful but systematic preparatory actions. Several SpaceX divisions have received closed internal instructions related to modeling infrastructure nodes, life support systems, and energy schemes, as well as assessing the condition of dozens of hulls that have returned from active missions and are now stored at secured sites around Starbase. Bloomberg Space and the Wall Street Journal, citing sources familiar with consultations between SpaceX and Texas authorities, report that Musk views the construction of Star City as a strategic project combining space engineering, autonomous energy systems, a demonstration of reusability, and the creation of the first model of a future Martian settlement. Most importantly, Musk intends to implement all of this on Earth to prove that a city based on full autonomy, closed-loop systems, and independence from traditional infrastructure can function stably and economically. According to several SpaceX employees, Starship hulls and Falcon 9 stages are viewed not as scrap or decommissioned parts, but as ideal construction modules. Ultra-strong steel designed for extreme loads, perfectly cylindrical shapes allowing them to be connected into sealed sections, high resistance to corrosion, and the ability to install full insulation, communications, and engineering systems inside. Internal documents described by Ars Technica contain references to an architectural concept built on vertical towers made from Starship hulls, horizontal corridors from Falcon 9 stages, and multi-level energy platforms integrated into a single autonomous block. All of this is meant to form the framework of a future city that engineers call the first functioning proof that reusability can expand beyond astronautics. But the architectural aspect is only half the picture. What worries analysts far more is that, according to several sources, Musk views Star City not merely as an engineering experiment, but as an economic model that could radically change competitive dynamics between states. According to Reuters sources familiar with the negotiations, several insiders claim that Musk is discussing with Texas authorities the possibility of creating a special tax zone in which two key taxes, property tax and sales tax, would be eliminated. This would not only be an unprecedented move for a private project, but also a powerful tool for attracting companies, startups, research centers, and high-skilled specialists who are already leaving California en masse, tired of its tax burden. One consultant working with the Texas administration told The Information that Musk proposed creating an experimental zero-tax corridor around Star City, a territory where any company operating in technology, robotics, neural networks, energy, or space infrastructure could function without paying property taxes and with a zero sales tax rate. Goldman Sachs experts note that such a step could completely reshape the economic map of the southern states, turning Star City into a new technological magnet that would compete not with Austin or San Jose, but with entire economic systems. The situation is further intensified by the fact that SpaceX has already purchased significant land around Starbase. According to the Texas Tribune, hundreds of hectares. New construction platforms, temporary hangars, energy nodes, and mobile engineering systems have begun to appear on these sites. Several SpaceX employees have hinted in closed discussions that the company is creating the first testing zone where systems of natural ventilation, thermal insulation, and the integration of solar panels into rocket hulls will be evaluated. MIT analysts note that such tests are essential before building Martian settlements, since on Mars any mistake would cost lives. An equally important part of the project is the creation of a fully autonomous energy system. According to CNBC, SpaceX, together with Tesla Energy, is working on integrating solar glass, Powerwall, and Megapack into a unified energy circuit, allowing the city to function independently of external grids. This means Star City could become the first territory in the US where energy, heating, water, transportation, and communications are fully autonomous and do not require resources from state or municipal services. Experts believe that such a solution creates a dangerous precedent, a territory where a private company controls literally everything from power grids to residential modules. Meanwhile, SpaceX engineers insist that autonomy is not the goal but a tool. Musk wants to use Star City as a full prototype of a Martian city where water purification systems, closed biological cycles, autonomous logistics, and automated maintenance services integrated into a single AI framework will be tested. Several Tesla employees working temporarily at SpaceX told Nikkei Asia that their team is developing new types of glass panels resistant to ultraviolet radiation and temperature fluctuations, a solution intended for later testing in Martian conditions. Analysts at Bank of America and Morgan Stanley have already called Star City a private infrastructure revolution. They note that never before in the US has there been a territory where urban autonomy, elimination of key taxes, reusable space architecture, and the integration of next-generation energy systems coexist simultaneously. According to experts, if the project is realized even by 1/3, it will signal to other major corporations, Google, Amazon, Apple, that the future of cities may lie not in the hands of governments, but in private technology structures. And although the White House expresses concern that Musk is creating an ecosystem that is too independent, analysts note that pressure from federal authorities may only accelerate the project's development. Musk has long called excessive regulation the main threat to innovation, and creating his own autonomous territory may become his response to efforts to limit SpaceX's expansion. Despite the political backdrop and the skepticism of some experts, one thing is clear: the Star City project has already moved beyond rumors. It has become a topic of closed discussions in financial institutions, government structures, and investment funds. According to people familiar with the situation at the top management level, Musk sees Star City not as an experiment, but as the first step in forming humanity's future infrastructure. A city built from rockets, autonomous, energy-independent, freed from several key taxes, and created according to the principles of reusable space architecture, may become the zero point from which the transition from the industrial era to the era of interplanetary urbanism begins. And if the project is indeed launched, then in the coming years, the world will see not just a new city, but the first example of how a private company can create an autonomous settlement ready to operate according to the principles of a future Martian civilization. Some consider it a reckless gamble, others see it as an inevitable step. But everyone agrees on one thing: if Musk builds Star City, humanity's understanding of how cities can be created, how technologies can be used, and how future generations can organize life will change forever. According to several authoritative insiders, close to 3 major technological ecosystems, xAI, Tesla, and the infrastructure divisions of X Corp, Elon Musk is preparing a technological maneuver that is already being described as the boldest and most dangerous challenge in the history of the artificial intelligence industry. Sources at the Financial Times, The Information, and several unnamed analysts report that Musk has begun implementing a secret project aimed at rebuilding the entire architecture of Tesla and xAI, so the companies no longer depend on NVIDIA, can develop their own AI chips, train Grok on internal supercomputing infrastructure, and push Tesla into the absolute lead of the global AI race. This news shocked the market because just 6 months ago, Musk himself admitted that training Grok without NVIDIA GPUs was impossible. But now, things are changing. According to insiders in Silicon Valley, the very shortage of NVIDIA capacity, the same shortage that is slowing the development of the world's largest language models, forced Musk to make a strategic decision: stop being a buyer of compute and become its producer. Elon Musk, who has spent decades going against the industry, is once again doing what he does best: starting a war no one is prepared for at the scale of his plans. To understand Tesla's and xAI's new course, one must begin with the current state of Grok, the boldest AI model on the market, built in the style of a maximally honest, slightly cocky, fast explosive assistant that says what other models are afraid to say aloud, could have been a revolution. And indeed, according to CNBC, Grok's development pace is almost twice as fast as xAI's internal plan, but the growth of the model is hitting a fundamental problem. There is nowhere to train Grok. Musk openly said that training one version of Grok 3X requires up to 100,000 GPUs, ideally from NVIDIA's Blackwell series, which will be the most powerful line of graphics processors in history. But Blackwell is already sold out for years ahead. Amazon, Meta, Google, Tesla, Microsoft, and sovereign wealth funds in the Middle East have signed multi-year contracts, and obtaining new chips is nearly impossible. Musk found himself in a situation where his AI revolution depended not on the talents of xAI and Tesla engineers, but on NVIDIA's delivery schedule. This dependency, according to analysts at Bloomberg Intelligence, became the key reason behind Musk's new secret move, a project within Tesla already called the AI Independence Initiative. According to insiders at X Corp, Musk is seriously considering creating his own AI processor architecture directly integrated into future versions of Tesla Dojo, and this is what pushed the company toward accelerated construction of massive data centers designed for tens of thousands of Tesla's own AI modules known as Tesla D2. Journalists at The Information report that Tesla has already purchased equipment for the largest data center in the company's history, located in Texas near the Gigafactory in Austin. According to documents obtained through a leak, this data center is not just a computation node, it is the future matrix for training Grok, Tesla Autopilot, the Optimus robotic assistant, and all of Tesla's generative AI technologies. Musk is building his own AI nation where every part of the infrastructure belongs to him, not to outside corporations. But why did Musk decide to place Tesla at the center of the AI revolution? The answer lies in the fact that Tesla is the only company in the world that simultaneously owns millions of cars, generating unique data every day, has its own Dojo supercomputer, develops autonomous systems, trains giant neural networks, and now, thanks to xAI, creates one of the fastest language models in the world. According to analysts at Goldman Sachs, Tesla can unite all these elements into a single platform, from vehicle sensor streams to generative AI in consumer devices. In other words, Musk is not just building Grok model, he is building a new technological continent where AI controls cars, robots, logistics, operating systems, and possibly even future X Corp products. Insiders at Reuters claim that Musk wants to turn Grok into the main brain of everything Tesla does. If earlier Tesla Autopilot was a separate system, and Optimus was developed independently, now, according to new plans, Grok will become the decision-making center for all directions. Cars will understand environmental context, robots will understand human speech, and Tesla's AI systems will analyze the world through a unified intelligence stack. This cannot be achieved on external compute, which is why Musk began reworking the Dojo architecture, so it can train not only automotive models, but also generative systems at the level of GPT-5. Inside Tesla, they say Musk wants to achieve full vertical AI sovereignty. He understands that NVIDIA is too strong to confront directly, but he also understands that the only way to bypass NVIDIA is to create not a competitor, but an alternative universe. In this universe, Tesla does not buy GPUs. It creates its own. It does not rent data centers. It builds them. It does not wait for deliveries. It designs architecture from scratch. According to analysts at The Verge, Musk is preparing for the largest confrontation with NVIDIA because he understands that the future of the tech market will belong to whoever can provide compute. And compute is the new oil. The most surprising part is that insiders from the supply chain claim Tesla has already produced a prototype of its first AI chip aimed at large models like Grok. This chip does not aim to match H200 or Blackwell performance at launch, but it will allow Tesla to begin breaking free from dependency. But the most important point is that Musk does not hide that he wants to create an AI capable of competing with OpenAI, Google Gemini, and Facebook Llama. And if Tesla builds its own computational planet, Grok will be able to train faster than any other model in the world. This is a strategic plan that could change everything, from autopilot to global AI policy. Today, NVIDIA owns the AI world. But if Musk builds his compute empire, for the first time in many years, there will be a real alternative. And this is what makes the situation so tense. Tesla and xAI may become the only force capable of reshaping the technological map of the planet. Will Musk succeed? No one knows. But if even half of the leaks are true, the world is on the threshold of a new era. An era in which Tesla stops being a car company and becomes an independent AI power with its own compute infrastructure, its own models, its own robots, and its own vision of the future. And all of this does not start tomorrow. It is starting right now. In Silicon Valley, there are rumors that Musk plans to scale the Optimus project to such dimensions that in a few years, Tesla robots will operate on the same computational models as the autopilot, and the entire ecosystem will be controlled by the unified brain Grok, which is becoming closer to the format of a universal AI. And this perspective is already causing concern among competitors from Google, which fears losing its dominance in AI infrastructure, to OpenAI, which understands that Grok may become the fastest learning AI in the world. If Musk's plans are even partially realized, we may find ourselves on the brink of a technological transformation that will turn Tesla from an automaker into the first fully autonomous AI state of a new generation, compact, flexible, energy independent, and completely free from any external monopolies. In recent years, Tesla has remained a symbol of technological superiority, a company that did not just make electric cars, but essentially shaped the industry itself, setting standards for design, efficiency, software, and autonomous driving. However, right now, more and more analysts are beginning to say that the golden era of Tesla's unquestioned dominance is coming to an end. Sales are slowing, margins are shrinking, price wars with Chinese manufacturers like BYD, NIO, and Xiaomi Auto are squeezing profits, and the Cybertruck, on which Elon Musk placed an enormous bet as a symbol of a new era, has failed to meet expectations in terms of volume, cost, and mass market perception. Bloomberg, Financial Times, and Reuters are cautiously but increasingly writing about this, noting that for the first time in many years, Tesla has found itself in the position of a challenger rather than an undisputed leader. Chinese electric cars are no longer seen as a cheap alternative. They offer comparable characteristics, better batteries relative to price, and an aggressive pace of updates. And at the very moment when it seems Tesla has begun to lose momentum, a strange information vacuum is forming around the company, which, according to some insiders, may be a sign of preparation for the largest technological leap in the brand's history. Several former and current Tesla engineers, speaking anonymously to the Information and Semi-Analysis, hinted that in 2025 the company conducted closed tests of a new battery architecture, the results of which exceeded management's expectations. And it was after this that the tone of internal discussions about future models changed sharply, including an unexpected pause in updating the Model S and Model X. Formally, Tesla continues to talk about the development of 4,680 cells, optimization of lithium-ion chemistry, and cost reduction. But behind the scenes, according to sources, work is being carried out in parallel on what is referred to inside the company as the next level of energy storage, and more signs indicate that this is about solid-state batteries. Officially, Tesla has never confirmed the development of such batteries. Moreover, Musk himself in past years spoke skeptically about the timing of their commercial readiness, But this very skepticism, analysts at Morgan Stanley believe, may be part of a strategy of disinformation so as not to raise market expectations prematurely. In mid-2025, several Tesla employees suddenly began talking about 2026 as a year of surprises, and one of the leading engineers of the battery division in a private speech at a closed event in California allegedly said a phrase that later spread through small investor chats. "We finally solved what was considered unsolvable." From that moment, rumors began circulating in the industry that Tesla had managed to achieve stable operation of a solid-state battery prototype, suitable not only for laboratory tests but also for scaling. Solid-state batteries have long been considered the holy grail of the electric vehicle industry because they differ radically from conventional lithium-ion batteries. Instead of a liquid electrolyte, a solid one is used, which makes it possible to significantly increase energy density, reduce fire risk, and extend service life. According to MIT Energy Initiative estimates, such batteries are theoretically capable of providing an energy density sufficient for an electric car to travel more than 1,000 to 1,200 kilometers on a single charge without increasing the mass of the battery pack. This indicator may become a point of no return for the entire automotive industry because the main psychological barrier of electric vehicles, fear of long-distance travel, will disappear completely. If today even the most advanced electric cars are perceived as a compromise for travel, then a car with a real range of 1,100 to 1,200 kilometers and fast charging changes the rules of the game completely. According to Nikkei Asia, Japanese and Chinese automakers really do plan to introduce solid-state batteries closer to the end of the decade, but it is Tesla, if the leaks are to be believed, that may try to leap over this time gap and present a limited series as early as 2026, possibly in the form of a flagship model or an entirely new vehicle. Some sources link this to the fact that Tesla has been actively investing in startups connected with ceramic electrolytes and hybrid solid-state structures without publicly disclosing these deals directly. If these rumors are confirmed, then this is not just about a new battery, but about a technological weapon capable of collapsing the market. A Tesla electric car with a solid-state battery, a range of more than 1,000 kilometers, fast charging, and a reduced risk of degradation could make gasoline cars economically meaningless for most consumers, especially in Europe and China, where regulatory pressure on ICE is increasing. Moreover, such a breakthrough would instantly devalue current competitor developments because no mass manufacturer is yet ready to offer a comparable combination of characteristics in the next 2 years. That is why some media call these rumors fake, claiming that Tesla physically cannot overtake Toyota and Kia TL in this race. However, the history of Elon Musk's company has already shown more than once that the most radical leaps happened precisely when most experts considered them impossible. SpaceX was also called a risky venture until reusable rockets became the new norm, and Tesla has already once turned the market upside down, forcing the whole world to recognize electric cars as the future. If in 2026 the company really does present a production or quasi-production model with a solid-state battery, this will become not just the return of leadership, but a moment when the entire industry will be forced to play by Tesla's rules once again. Investors understand this, and that is why despite falling sales and criticism, major funds are in no hurry to write Tesla off, but instead closely monitor every hint, every leak, and every strange silence from the company. Because if Elon Musk really does have this card up his sleeve, then the world of electric vehicles stands not on the verge of evolution, but of a new revolution that may change not only the market, but the very idea of what the car of the future should be. And at exactly this moment, it becomes especially important to understand what will happen next if this technology really goes beyond laboratories and behind-the-scenes presentations. According to sources close to Tesla's supply chain, the company as early as 2025 quietly began restructuring contracts with a number of equipment manufacturers, focusing not on the classic lithium-ion architecture, but on a completely different logic of battery module assembly, which indirectly confirms preparations for radical changes. Some Barclays analysts note that such sharp moves in supply chains are never made just in case. They are too expensive and risky, and usually mean that a strategic decision inside the company has already been made. If Tesla really succeeds in bringing solid-state batteries to serial readiness, the consequences will be colossal, not only for the EV market but for the entire energy sector as a whole. The electric car will cease to be just an alternative to a gasoline vehicle and will turn into a universal means of transport without compromises, which means that oil demand in the passenger car segment may begin to decline faster than even the most aggressive energy transition scenarios predict. Moreover, such a battery could open the way to completely new vehicle form factors, lighter, thinner, safer, with a different weight distribution and completely different dynamics. And that is why, according to sources in Silicon Valley investment circles, 2026 inside Tesla is already being called the year of myth reboot, a moment when the company must remind the world why it once changed everything. If this scenario comes true, Tesla will not simply regain its leadership, it will once again force competitors to play catch-up, and the entire market, from automakers to oil giants, will be compelled to urgently reconsider their long-term strategies, because after such a breakthrough, there will be no road back. In the world of high technology, a new hidden race is beginning, one that until recently no one spoke about openly, but that is now rapidly gaining momentum, turning into one of the most intriguing tech battles of recent years. After the explosive development of AI and the widespread adoption of neural networks, many companies realized that the next big step could be the full integration of AI and virtual reality, capable of changing the very nature of how humans interact with digital space. Giants like Apple, Meta, and Samsung have spent several years trying to secure leading positions in this direction, creating devices that promise to transport a person into an entirely new world the moment they put massive goggles on their head. But in reality, the industry ended up frozen in place. For example, the much-hyped Apple Vision Pro, positioned as a new era of computing, ultimately failed to meet expectations. Sales were lower than forecast, and numerous reviews noted that the technology remained raw, uncomfortable, and far removed from the mass consumer. However, despite this, most analysts at Wall Street Tech Review, Financial Sphere, and the research firm AR Future Lab agree that virtual reality is still capable of becoming one of the most profitable and revolutionary industries of the future if a product appears that can make a true qualitative leap. And it seems that such a player has emerged. According to numerous insiders, analysts, and leaks from supply chains, a company that no one previously associated with VR technologies is preparing to join the race. This is Tesla, and specifically Elon Musk, a man who for 2 decades has been flipping industries upside down, from automotive and space to neural interfaces. Until recently, Musk publicly criticized the field of virtual reality, claiming it could never compete with direct Neuralink interfaces that interact with the brain directly. In a 2023 interview, he said that VR is a dead-end technology with a temporary wow effect. But something has changed. According to the information, Tech Radar Asia and anonymous sources inside Tesla suppliers in Shanghai, Musk has unexpectedly given the green light to an internal initiative that may become the most unexpected tech project in Tesla's entire history. The project carries the preliminary codename X-Vision, and according to leaks, it will be the world's first virtual and mixed reality headset built entirely around Tesla's own AI, integrated directly with Optimus algorithms, Autopilot, Dojo networks, and Neuralink's experimental developments. Information about the project is so classified that even inside Tesla, only a few teams know the details. But in recent weeks, a chain of leaks has begun. Employees of units involved in manufacturing lenses, high-density displays, and optical sensors report that Tesla is actively purchasing equipment it has never used before. Journalists at Electric Frontier report that Tesla has signed a contract for unusual transparent panels with microlenses that are not used in any current product of the company. All of this resembles Musk's classic style, pretending the project does not exist while the company simultaneously builds the infrastructure for its launch. Why is this important? Because pressure inside Tesla is truly growing. Car sales are slowing, competitors are attacking from all sides, Optimus robots are progressing more slowly than expected, and the market is demanding something genuinely fresh from the company. Musk understands that the era of just electric cars is ending. On the horizon are AI devices, autonomous systems, personal robots, and a new type of personal computers that no longer fit in your pocket, but surround you from all sides. And according to sources, this is exactly what pushed him to consider VR as the platform for the next breakthrough. But the main reason is of another kind. Leaks claim that Musk saw an opportunity to merge three key technologies, Neuralink, Tesla AI, and mixed reality headsets, into a single device. This became the factor that changed his opinion. According to insiders, the idea is to create a device that not only displays an image in front of the eyes, but uses a personal neurodata profile, AI behavior, and environmental sensors to generate a dynamic, adaptive reality around the user. Essentially, it would be the world's first VR computer that does not require controllers, gestures, or tracking cameras, but can anticipate human actions by analyzing patterns of attention, reactions, and preferences. Global Tech Post reports that Musk became seriously interested in reviving VR after the recent leap in the quality of Tesla's third-generation neural networks, the same ones used in Optimus and the autonomous driving system. Tesla engineers claim that Dojo clusters are already capable of generating and processing visual scenes in real time with a latency of less than 5 milliseconds, a level long considered unattainable. And if applied to VR, it could produce a device that does not cause motion sickness, dizziness, or delays, the main problems of all modern headsets. But the leaks do not end there. In early November, several employees who wish to remain anonymous reported that internal X-Vision prototypes are being tested in a secret Tesla lab near Austin. According to them, the device looks like an ultralight, almost entirely red titanium frame with a transparent front panel, resembling a mix between glasses of the future and an industrial prototype of Apple Vision. Two miniature cooling modules are located on the sidearms, and inside is the Tesla N3 neural chip previously used in Optimus robots. If the leaks are true, X-Vision will become the first headset running on an AI core designed not for entertainment, but for analyzing and predicting human actions. The technology, insiders say, can literally adapt reality to the state of the user. For example, when a person is tired, the device automatically softens visual elements. When focus is needed, it presents information in a more structured way. When the user wants to learn, the AI forms personalized virtual environments, modeling situations in real time. According to Digital Horizons, Musk is seriously considering integrating a lightweight version of Neuralink, not an implant, but an external sensory module that reads microwave signals of brain activity. This is not a direct interface, but a step toward one. Experts call it a soft neuro interface that avoids surgery and makes the device unique on the market. Analysts already say that if Tesla truly launches X-Vision development, the company may repeat the effect of the iPhone in 2007, when a single product completely transformed the industry and created a new reality. If all this is combined in one device, Tesla could create a closed ecosystem impossible to replicate. According to global tech review sources, the first decisions on launching the project may be made as early 2026, and if the roadmap is approved, the first public prototypes will appear closer to the end of the year. Moreover, several anonymous suppliers claim that Tesla is already discussing creating a trial production line in Shanghai, the same one used to test early versions of new type batteries. Experts believe that this product could become the key to restarting Tesla's growth and triggering a new wave of interest in the company. And if the leaks are confirmed, the world may already see a device called Tesla X-Vision in 2026, capable of becoming not just a new gadget, but the beginning of a new technological era, in which the boundaries between reality, AI, and human perception disappear entirely, revealing a device that truly has the potential to change everything. In recent months, one and the same name has been heard with increasing frequency in the corridors of the American military-industrial complex, and it is not Lockheed Martin, not Northrop Grumman, And not even Boeing, but Elon Musk's companies Tesla and SpaceX, which, according to several sources close to the US Department of Defense, may have gained access to one of the most classified and unprecedented projects in the history of the Pentagon. Formally, there has been no announcement, no contracts have appeared in public registries, but this is exactly how programs begin in the US that people later speak about in a whisper for decades. According to sources cited by analysts in the Washington Post, Defense News and Politico, in the context of rapidly escalating confrontation with China, the Pentagon has decided to take a radical step and involve leaders of the technology industry in the creation of a fundamentally new class of combat aviation. Not just another stealth fighter, but a next-generation platform whose characteristics could render all existing aircraft obsolete even before entering mass production. The concept refers to a fighter that will combine near-absolute low observability, autonomy at the level of artificial intelligence, and fundamentally new propulsion solutions capable of providing both hypersonic modes and unprecedented maneuverability in the atmosphere. And this is precisely where, according to insiders, the Pentagon, for the first time in history, decided to go beyond the classical defense industry and turn to companies that have spent decades developing technologies of the future, but have never formally built combat aircraft. Sources emphasize that this does not mean Tesla or SpaceX will build a fighter from scratch. Such projects really do require decades and thousands of engineers. However, Musk's involvement may be targeted but critically important, especially in areas where traditional defense giants are objectively lagging behind. According to Defense Department interlocutors, Tesla's key task within the potential project may be the development of the world's first fully autonomous AI-based combat aircraft control system capable of operating without a pilot, making tactical decisions in real time, and engaging in combat under conditions where human reactions simply cannot keep up with speeds and G-forces. The Pentagon has long acknowledged that the era of manned aviation is approaching its limit and that future air battles will take place at such speeds and distances that the human operator becomes the weak link. That is why Tesla's experience in building autopilot systems, computer vision, and neural networks trained on billions of kilometers of real-world data is of particular interest to military strategists. According to sources, the initiative may involve creating an AI core that will not simply fly along a route, but analyze the battle space, interact with other unmanned platforms, make decisions on attack and evasion, and adapt to new threats without operator intervention. Classified Pentagon reports have repeatedly stressed that China is actively investing in autonomous combat systems, and the US cannot afford to fall behind in this area. But no less important a part of the potential project is said to be the role of SpaceX, and here, the stakes are even higher. According to analysts, discussions include the possibility of using SpaceX's developments in rocket engines, fuel systems, and thermal protection to create a next-generation universal power unit capable of operating both in the atmosphere and at near-space altitudes. In theory, such an engine would allow a fighter to accelerate to extreme speeds, abruptly change trajectory, and perform maneuvers unavailable to any modern aircraft. Sources stress that this is not about directly using Falcon or Raptor engines, but about transferring the principles, materials, and engineering solutions that SpaceX has refined over years under extreme load conditions. Inside the Pentagon, this project is reportedly already being called not just a fighter jet, but a dominance platform capable of reshaping the balance of power in the air for decades ahead. All of this is unfolding against the backdrop of a sharp escalation in the Asia-Pacific region, which in recent weeks has taken on a truly alarming character. Chinese naval vessels are increasingly approaching US carrier strike groups at minimally allowable distances, at times closing in to just a few hundred meters, and demonstratively crossing their course, forcing US Navy crews to perform evasive maneuvers. According to US intelligence, these are not accidental incidents or navigation errors, but a deliberate pressure strategy that analysts have dubbed the shadow tactic, where the opponent's presence is physically felt but does not formally violate international law. Each such maneuver is carefully recorded by Chinese cameras and immediately broadcast in state media, where it is presented as proof that China is unafraid of the American military presence near its shores. Washington fully understands that such provocations are not just shows of force, but part of a broader strategy of deterrence and psychological pressure aimed at testing the response of the US and its allies. Against this backdrop, sources say the Pentagon is accelerating work on programs that until recently were considered too bold or risky. Particular concern in Washington is caused by preparations of the People's Liberation Army of China for a possible operation around Taiwan. Western intelligence is recording a sharp increase in exercises, the redeployment of amphibious ships, and the construction of logistics hubs and fuel depots along the Fujian coast directly across from the Taiwan Strait. Satellite imagery published by respected analytical centers shows that China is systematically rehearsing scenarios of blockade and mass strikes on the island. In this situation, the US is increasingly forced to consider the possibility of direct confrontation with a high-tech adversary, and traditional approaches to warfare no longer seem sufficient. That is why, according to a number of experts, involving Tesla and SpaceX in military programs looks less like fantasy and more like a logical step at a moment when global dominance is at stake. If the Pentagon has indeed decided to entrust Musk with key elements of such a project, it would mean that the US is ready to go all in, betting on the technologies of the future rather than on proven but aging solutions of the past. And although there are still no official confirmations, the number of indirect signals, leaks, and analytical overlaps raises a serious question. It may well be that right now, in closed hangars and laboratories, the foundation is being laid for the most radical military technology of the 21st century. In this logic, the involvement of Tesla and SpaceX looks like an attempt to leapfrog an entire generation of weapons at once by creating a system for which potential adversaries do not yet even have a conceptual answer. Experts emphasize that if such a project really exists, the first real tests may not take place publicly or at air bases, but in restricted zones over the ocean or at altitudes where civilian radars simply see nothing. In that case, the world will learn about it not from press releases, but from a sudden shift in the balance of power when the familiar rules of aerial combat stop working. And this is the main fear that, as they say, is now being discussed in whispers in Washington and Beijing at the same time. The next war may begin not with a shot and not with a declaration, but with the appearance in the sky of something that until yesterday was considered impossible.